witnessing my father, who is caring for my mother with Parkinson's, and watching him give his all and seeing him snap at my mother at times when you would least expect it.
Sure.
And you see in that moment the pain on his face when he recognized, oh my gosh, what did I just do?
Yeah.
Why did I lash out at someone who maybe didn't deserve that?
Hi, everyone. So I'm Tim, and we're the Home Care Fam. This is Kevin. And we are here to help you provide resources for your life as a family caregiver to make sure that you're living the life that gives you the most joy and that you're providing the level of care that you need to for your family. And today we're here to talk about a topic that is extremely important to all of us, and it's about caregiver burnout. Because over 63 million adults in the United States are family caregivers. That means nearly 1 in 4 adults is providing care for their adult family members. This number has gone up more than 50% in the last 10 years. And 8 out of 10 of these family caregivers say that providing the care to their loved ones improves their life and gives their life more purpose. But it does come with a downside, and that's the burnout that we're going to talk about. So 1 in 4 family caregivers say that they feel alone in this process. 1 in 5 say that their health has taken a downturn because of the care that they're providing. So if you're a family caregiver and you get purpose and meaning out of the care that you provide, but your health is also declining, or you have less free time, or you're getting snappy, we understand, and we're here to provide the resources that you need to provide your family with the care that they deserve, but also for you to live a joyful life. So Kevin, you've sat with hundreds of people. You have your own family.
Oh, absolutely.
And you understand what burnout feels like and what it looks like. So I'd love just to talk about, who burns out the hardest, why does this happen, and what can we do to avoid it?
Yeah, well, you actually talked a little bit about, family. When you are a family caregiver, you get joy of caring for a loved one, and you want to, especially at their time of need.
Yes.
And so I think what I find most with family caregiver burnout is those who actually think they can do it all.
Mm-hmm.
It tends to maybe hit them the hardest, and are those who, because they think they can do it all, it's also those that care the most.
Sure.
And so we do see, and we think, whether you're a child, so you're a child caring for a parent or even a spouse.
Yep.
You do feel like it's your obligation to care for that loved one. And so you spend so much time figuring out, how am I going to care for them? Mm-hmm. That becomes your life. And so you start really, really putting your all into caring for your loved one, because that's what you want. Mm-hmm. And that's what you feel a little bit of an obligation, but a joy from it. And so that's where it all begins.
But it does come at a cost.
It does.
Because we sacrifice our own personal time. And when we do this, we start running on empty.
Yeah.
And that's one of the questions that I wanted to ask is, what does it look like before someone breaks? What are some of the telltale signs that we could identify and kind of head off before it happens?
Yeah, it's obviously going to be unique with each person.
Sure.
And it's somewhat situational, but I think there are always some telltale signs.
Okay.
And that is when you start seeing maybe a little bit short-tempered. So maybe there's a little bit of
picture myself there.
Yeah. I've talked a little bit about my family situation in the past, and I see it from me being a primary caregiver for my cousin that I've talked about, or my parents, witnessing my father, who is caring for my mother with Parkinson's, and watching him give his all and seeing him snap at my mother at times when you would least expect it.
Sure.
And you see in that moment the pain on his face when he recognized, oh my gosh, what did I just do?
Yeah.
Why did I lash out at someone who maybe didn't deserve that?
Yeah.
But it's because he didn't recognize and or see what was coming. because all he's done is give his 100% all the time. So it's little things. And I think what I see the most is when you start getting a little bit short tempered or a little short with that person, and or you not understanding why they do something and blaming them for their illness. And that's when you're not really prepared and or seeing that you need a break. Those are the types of things you start seeing.
And this creeps up on us, right? And it's not something that that we can identify all the time, but it happens in these moments of duress or stress or exhaustion.
Well, I think what we do, especially when we are a family caregiver who is so, getting so much joy out of it, you're really all consumed oftentimes.
Yes.
Because sometimes these family members need almost around the clock care. And so when you are just engulfed in it nonstop, you don't see, it just becomes routine. And so you can't even recognize yourself, what is going on in your own body.
Yeah.
And so that's why you may not recognize yourself at times, because everything has become so natural a routine that you're missing what's actually going on in your life, because it's so natural for you to be doing 100% caring for that person.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we all really need to keep in mind, right? Because when we're so deep in the process of providing the care to a loved one, it's really easy to lose sight of ourselves.
Absolutely.
And I think you told me something about your dad didn't go to the local coffee shop to see his friends, or right?
Yeah, that's a great one. It was maybe a year or so ago. I had gone up and I go in and get my coffee every single morning, and I had gone to the local coffee shop, and his friends, I know all of them from when I was a child, came up and asked, "So how's your father? I know your mother had a fall, and so we haven't seen him since the fall." And when I mean fall is fall, not fall the season. Yes, she had fallen and had gone to the hospital, and so that was with Parkinson's, one fall leads to two, leads to three. And so you always hear about the fall, and the fall tends to be when things kind of change.
And we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he starts, giving more time because he needs to be there for just, to make sure she doesn't fall, make sure she's stable when she walks. Anyway, where, they came up to me and said, how is she doing? And since the fall, and I was like, well, that fall was 6 months ago. Like, really? It's been that long since we've seen him. And in that moment realized, and they say, well, can you just get him to come into coffee? And so I went home after with my coffee that I was taking. I actually took one to him and to my mother and said, you know what? I think, Dad, next time you need to go in and get the coffee. You need to get away, even if it's for an hour. You need to get away. You need to go see the coffee clutch.
What actually works for a family caregiver to feel like they're providing their own self-care? And I know self-care is a ridiculous term, but what works? One of the things that the studies say works really well is to share this experience with people, to tell someone what you're going through, to say it out loud. And so, Kevin, I don't know if you've had this experience personally, but I know for me personally, it's very hard to share things that are hard when you're going through them.
Yeah, it's absolutely 100%. This is where I think I have some of my biggest passion. Actually just talk about it, because when you actually say it and you talk it, it becomes real. Because what you are afraid of, and this is what I feared myself as a caregiver, and I think what my father feared too, is the moment you say something, you are admitting you did something wrong. But what you're doing in that moment is you're recognizing, I need help.
Yep.
And so you're talking to someone who can maybe talk with you about it, because oftentimes we're holding it inside. We think people might know, but if you actually don't say it, they're not going to know. And as soon as you do it, all of a sudden you've opened up a conversation. You've opened up an opportunity to connect with someone about what you're feeling. And they likely will be able to give you some support in some way, shape, or form. For me, it was, Dad, thank you for sharing what you're feeling. Now I can talk to my siblings and we can start to strategize.
That's perfect, because that's exactly one of the other points that I wanted to bring it up. Say it out loud, share it with somebody so they understand what you're experiencing.
Yeah.
And you said it perfectly. Number 2 is to get help before something really critical happens, like falling and breaking a hip or whatever that is. So say it out loud, like you're saying, get help before you're desperate.
Yep.
And then the third thing is finding some way to claw back time for yourself. And like in your dad's case, block off that hour to go to the coffee shop and catch up with friends.
Finding the time is, that is the big question.
Yes.
Honest, Tim. And so it's, in some instances, you are only going to be able to carve out that time if you have someone that's there caring for that.
Exactly. Yes.
So this is where, we can talk a lot about what does that look like, from friends to family to a home care service.
Sure.
We know about, those services. We do a lot of respite
Yes.
with our own clients. But it's a matter of, understanding with, when someone needs a break, how are you going to set aside that time and coordinate with the family, friends, or a service to get you away, even for a brief moment. I often say, those who like massage, go get a massage. Go for a walk out where I am, where I grew up. It's on a ranch.
Yeah.
My father, it's best for him to go out and, whether it's feed the horses, feed the cattle, depending on the time of year it is, or right now it's summer, so he's out watering the yard.
Okay.
He can just, wander around out in the yard, around the ranch for a couple hours and come back completely rejuvenated.
Yeah.
So whatever that time is, figure it out for yourself.
I want to talk about the top 10 ways that a caregiver can understand how they're burning out before they burn out. So one of them is exhaustion that sleep just doesn't fix. And I think this is something that we can all relate to, because many cases we're providing the care, we get so tired, we get run down, and we think the sleep is going to fix it, but it actually doesn't. 2 is snapping at people. Your dad did it.
Yeah.
I've done it. You've done it. This is something that's universal. So when you see that happening, understand that burnout is starting to happen.
With sleep doesn't necessarily mean you're getting the mental break.
Yeah.
And that's where the snap comes. So both of those, like it's yes, sleep is absolutely critical, but figuring out what is going to be that mental rest.
Yes.
That moment where you can actually let your mind settle. And yes, sleep, that does often come through sleep. I am a big proponent of get your 8 hours minimum, especially if you're caring for someone, but make sure you have that moment of clarity, just to kind of get that mental break, because that's where the snap comes.
3 was you dropped your friends, or you're not doing the things that you love to do.
Going to a coffee clutch.
Coffee clutch, walking on the ranch, whatever, get your nails done, get your hair done, whatever that looks like for you, make sure that you do it. 4 is that you're getting sick more often than usual. And when we talk about self-care, we talk about the sleep, we talk about pursuing your passions. We talked earlier about getting help before you need it. And that's part of making sure that you're not getting sick.
Yep.
Because when you get sick, you can't provide the care that your loved one needs. So we need to make sure that that doesn't happen. Resentment or guilt or shame at yourself, at your siblings. We need to keep an eye
The
on
one
this.
they love.
Yeah.
Resenting them for their illness.
Exactly, because they can't help it, but it is very easy to become resentful. So keep an eye on that. That is one of the signs of burnout. And then this is something that I can really relate to, is that no matter how much you do, it just doesn't feel like enough.
Yeah.
And that's a vicious cycle that's easy to get into. And then you start dreading the visit. So that's number 7. When you've given so much that you're dreading that time when you have to go and provide the care. 8, your patience is running out faster and faster. This is something that everyone experiences, but we need to keep an eye on it, because that is one of the telltale signs of caregiver burnout. Numbness and going through the motions. It's very easy for people to become numbed out and not focus on their own feelings and what's happening with them. So keep an eye out for the numbness and the not feeling. And then the final thought is, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
So this goes back to a lot of what we talked about earlier, which is, getting yourself the help that you need, sharing this process with someone, talking to someone about what's going on with you, making time for yourself, and then getting help before you need it to avoid the thinking that, you just can't keep doing it.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is, don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid of the feeling, because it is real. But I think, what I can say is you can get over that feeling. And so that's where having friends, family, that you can talk to about it, it's going to really help in the end. And, I'll just add a little bit more about this, because the care has gotten so much more extreme for my parents. And when I go home now, it's not like it used to be. So I think, there's probably a lot of other, children of adult parents who are helping manage care, where you just remember, this isn't the parents I once knew.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the going out to dinner and having wine that we used to have.
Sure.
Or sitting up laid out, out on the patio with the sun setting and having our wine and having great conversation well into the evening. You start thinking it's just not that anymore. It's, you feel like you don't want to go visit them. And so you hit on that point.
Sure.
And then the numbness, because that really, it's so real. But what happens is you recognize and you feel again, and then you all of a sudden realize, wait a minute, I have been avoiding maybe going. So I'm now talking about just as a child,
sure,
who gets to witness this, or unfortunately has to witness this. After you kind of break out of that numbness, when you recognize it's real, it's okay to feel this way, you then start to remember, these family members are at a point in time where they were helping manage end of life situations.
Sure. That's
and
right.
If you're pouring yourself away or you're stepping away, you are actually potentially limiting time you might have with that loved one, and you don't want to get there. So I say firsthand, from someone who's gone through an experience, talk about what it is you're feeling and talk about what is afraid. None of us are taught what it means to care for our parents. We never think that's something we're going to have to do. It's real. It's there, and we're gonna feel some of this resentment if we don't catch it.
Our goal today is to provide you with these resources that will help you understand what burnout looks like.
Then you're on islands. That's the biggest thing.
Yes.
Not alone.
You're one of 63 million people in the United States as a family caregiver. So there are resources out there. We'll provide links to all of those. We'll provide the document that gives you the 10 steps to understand when burnout is occurring and what you can do to fix it, and helps you understand this entire process, because the work that you're doing is critically important, and we all need that work to continue. Your family needs the care, and you deserve to feel good about it. Okay, before you go, I just wanted to mention a couple things. Please go to the link in the bio to click the free resource and the guide that we talked about in this episode. I also wanted to mention that both Kevin and I own home care businesses based in Northern California in the San Francisco Bay Area. We're also part of ameriCARE, which is a national brand. Please get in touch with us if you need help providing care for your aging family. We'd be happy to be a resource. And Kevin, I think one of the things we'd also like to mention is, if we're not the right people for you, we'd be happy to point you in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely.